Hello, this is Group 11, and Anne and I will be presenting on Apple Inc. Apple supply chain. Apple's supply chain is rated #1 in the US because of its efficiency and profitability. Apple experienced ROA of 22.3% and revenue growth of 52.5% over 3 years. This is weighted. The company also maintains a high throughput rate and high inventory turnover of 82.7%. However, Apple's financial information indicates a net loss of $4.7 million from financial year 2012 to 2013. Apple's success is in its management of supplier relationship. Suppliers are required to respond to market demand as well as Apple's demands concerning exclusivity. For suppliers, despite the profitability of Apple's high volume orders and the company's willingness to invest in capital equipment, Apple's just-in-time strategy places considerable strain on suppliers. This is because Apple relies heavily on outsourcing, and there's a lot of risk inherent in a system like this. For example, the global economy could affect the company. Some components are currently obtained from single or limited sources. Some custom components are not common to the rest of the industries. So the ability to obtain components in sufficient quantities is important. Supply chain disruptions such as man-made and natural disasters could also be serious risks. The company depends on logistical services provided by outsourcing partners, and the company also relies on its partners to adhere to the supplier code of conduct. Outsourcing also comes with certain ethical implications, especially when the company outsources to a developing country. Issues of wages, disruption of the local economy, environmental pollution, human rights violations, and so on and so forth. An example of this is the supplier Foxconn, known for poor working conditions and exploiting its workers in China. In addition to these risks, the bill of materials and manufacturing is still high, with outsourcing as $622 million was spent on the iPhone 5 alone. Apple captured only 58.5% of profits in 2010. One study indicates that while realized cost savings through offshore outsourcing may range between 20 to 50%, studies also show that in about 50% of the cases, offshore projects either fail to achieve cost savings or that costs actually increase. So we turn to backsourcing. Backsourcing or taking production in-house has benefits that can outweigh those of outsourcing or offshoring. By cutting down its number of suppliers from 156 to less and manufacturing more components in-house and warehousing in-house, Apple would reduce transaction costs, up its competitive advantage, and maintain tighter control of operations. Apple has a central warehouse in California, but Amazon has approximately 28 warehouses from coast to coast, just as a comparison. What Apple has to do is to synchronize data between the central warehouse and its own 246 stores. This, in conjunction with more accurate forecasting, would reduce the strain on its supply chain and help the company respond better to demand. Currently, Apple is also bringing most other component level designs in-house. This accomplishes several things for the company, from providing more control over product performance and power use to reducing the ability of other companies to copy Apple features by using the same off-the-shelf components. This is referring to its CPUs, which were originally manufactured by its competitor, Samsung. According to Statista, Samsung holds the majority of market share in global smartphone sales with a whopping 22.7% compared to Apple's 11.8% market share as of 2020. Samsung deals with much of the same issues surrounding outsourcing. However, Samsung has had to hire more workers, increase automation, and improve production processes to better support its overseas workers. Samsung manufactures 90% of its components internally and only relies on contractors for peripheral products such as components, feature phones, and handset cases. This costs more, but its intra-firm system allows the company to maintain quality and competitive advantage in manufacturing and R&D of critical components. Another firm famous for backsourcing is the supermarket chain Sainsbury's, who struck a deal of $2 billion with Accenture to bring its IT operations back in-house, thereby saving the company millions of dollars in IT. Accenture would take over Sainsbury's existing IT systems, develop and install new systems, manage third-party contracts, and absorb 800 of Sainsbury's IT personnel into its own company. Robert Willett, who is Accenture's global managing partner, says that this agreement is consistent with their strategy of teaming with clients to create innovative arrangements that deliver value far beyond traditional outsourcing. For Sainsbury's, backsourcing alleviates strain caused by outsourcing their IT function in its supply chain and frees up working capital.
In recent years, with the increasing features of the Apple products, major improvements has been made to the original products over years, and the demand for these products has highly increased over time. Almost each quarter has experienced a significant increase in sales, thereby increasing profit margins. Next slide, please. Apple's broad differentiation of products is another competitive advantage that allowed the business to stand out in the market. Differentiation in product design and function enable the firm to meet its goal of leading the market through technological innovation. However, to improve the application of differentiation strategy for competitive advantage, the company must penetrate the market like China aggressively. The action is applicable in developing countries where the company has limited access to the market for its technological goods and services. For Apple to improve its performance, it needs to place more emphasis on market development and penetration rather than relying on product development. These two strategies can improve the company's flexibility against aggressive competitors like Nokia and Samsung. Next slide, please. Apple should focus on 4 strategies in order to maintain a strong position in the global market. Product development strategy should drive excellence in product design. Market penetration should also be a factor in the success of business. Therefore, they should strive to enter into international markets, especially in developing countries where competition for technology goods is not severe. Once in the market, they should define strategies for maintaining their consumer base and developing their market. In addition, Apple should pursue vertical integration of its supply chain so that the company can maintain a closed, competitive environment and better response to demand spikes. Yeah, that's all.
Our conclusion is that the individual should invest in Apple. The company is highly profitable, promises growth, and has a strong supply chain, even with the improvements that need to be made.